I know that we're just days away from temporal forces here outside of Japan, but over in Japan, they're already a step ahead of us looking at the upcoming Crimson Haze cards. So today, we are going to round up the latest round of Crimson Haze cards. I'm Jeff from InThirdPerson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a look at what's coming up. Magcargo EX has 270 HP. It's a stage 1, really big retreat here at 3. However, it does have some interesting attacks. I mean, the first one's not that great. 70 damage and your opponent's active Pokemon is burned. But its second attack for 2 fire and a colorless, Ground Burn, does 140 damage and each player discards the top card of their deck. This attack does 140 more damage for each energy card discarded this way. So theoretically, if both players flip an energy, you are doing 360 damage, which is enough to one-shot everything in the game. But the magic number here is 280. You're going to one-shot most stuff. And if you can set up an energy on your end, then yeah, doing 280 is pretty cool. And we can set that up post-rotation with a card like Cryptomaniac's Deciphering, where you can stack your deck with a fire energy on the top and then just blast for 280. Now the attack for 2 fire and a colorless, it's going to take a little bit of extra work to get that 3 energy on there. However, that's something that we can achieve with Magma Basin, so it's not too hard to get 3 fire energy on a fire Pokemon. I don't know if this is going to be I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to be meta relevant, but it certainly seems like a fun concept. Morpeko has the ability Snack Search, where once during your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck, then you may discard it. I think this card is very neat. There are going to be times you'll want to see what card is at the top of the deck, such as that Magcargo really wants to see if there's a fire energy on the top. You could use this to give yourself a peek or to move through your deck a little faster to give you a better shot at getting that fire energy. However, for any deck that is trying to get cards in the discard pile, whether it's a Chen Pao or anything like that, Morpeko can help you mill through your deck a little faster, which is great. Its attack is not bad as well. Pick and Patch, where for 1 lightning energy, you can attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Worth noting here, it's just 2 basic energy. It doesn't have to be lightning. So theoretically, you could put this in a non-lightning deck. However, you will need lightning to power up this Morpeko. Farigiraf's first attack here for 2 colorless energy, Mid Rumble. This attack does 40 damage for each stage 1 Pokemon you have in play. If you have all 6 stage 1s, this does 240 damage, which is a great number, letting you take out almost all basic EXs. I think you won't take out the Blood Moon Ursaluna, but pretty much every basic EX and every basic V is going to go down. If you can get it seems like there's going to be quite a bit of setup in order to get 6 stage 1s on the board for that. But even 5 stage 1s and you're doing 200 damage, that's still solid. I think this could be a really interesting idea. Its second attack sucks, but the first attack could be cool. Iron Leaves could be a cool single prize tech against decks like a Charizard or a Roaring Moon, where for 1 grass and 2 colorless, you can do Vengeful Edge, where it does 100 damage, plus if any of your Pokemon were knocked out from damage of an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 60 more damage. Like 160 is fine, I guess. You're not really one-shotting any multi-prize Pokemon with that, maybe Squawkabilly, but like, you're doing 320 damage for weakness. That's gonna knock out Roaring Moon. You're 10 damage short of one-shotting Charizard. But however, we can get the damage up with Iron Crown, which has an ability that boosts your future Pokemon's damage by 20, and then also Future Booster Energy Capsule lets you boost by 20 as well. So this thing can one-shot a Charizard EX with a little bit of work. Now, getting the energy on there could be a little weird between the 1 grass and 2 colorless. You could use double turbo to power up the colorless part. You could use something like a Gardenia's Vigor. If you're playing this in a future deck, maybe that Miraidon can help you charge things up. or reboot pod plus energy switches. I don't know. This feels like it could be something. Walking Wake has a really interesting set of attacks. Well, okay, the second attack is really good. The first one, not really worth talking about. 20 damage, heal 20 damage, who cares? But Cleaving Wave for 2 water and a colorless you can put up to 9 damage counters on this Pokemon and do 20 damage for each damage counter you put in this way. So assuming you put in the full 9, you can do 180 damage, which is a really solid amount on a single prize Pokemon. And powering this up isn't a problem because we've got Baxcalibur in the game. So I'm thinking this definitely has a place as like a one of tech in a Chien-Pao deck, and maybe we use this as a Walking Wake's Baxcalibur single prize box deck. I don't know. Pinsir has an attack we've seen multiple times on different Pokemon. The Grappaloct from Paldean Fates has an attack like this right now. It's Slow Crunch for 1 grass and a colorless, where you discard all energy from this Pokemon, and at the end of your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon will be knocked out. There will be times where this will work. However, any sort of switch is going to completely negate the effect of this attack, and your opponent gets to escape the instant KO. So I don't think this is going to be reliable enough. I mean, we've seen this type of move, and that move exists in the game right now, and it's never good enough, and I still think it's not going to be good enough here. But it is like always really fun to think about and ways of trying to lock your opponent into the active to get these KOs, and sometimes it will work and it'll be awesome. It's a second attack, super powered horns for 100 damage. That one's awful, don't worry about it. Infernape has the ability Fire Dancing, where once during a turn, you may attach a basic fire energy, a basic fighting energy, or one of each from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. This is an ability, we've seen an ability like this before. This was on Dragonite in the Sun and Moon era. Now they switched water and lightning with fire and fighting. However, this Dragonite was very cool, at the very least in theme battles, where this was one of the best. I loved playing this theme deck back in the day. And this is definitely some interesting acceleration, especially on the fighting side, where fighting doesn't really have good fighting acceleration. This could be kind of intriguing, and its attack is not bad either. Scorching Fire does 200 damage and discard an energy from this Pokemon. It's a little short, like you're going to be able to knock out stuff like a Lumineon and a Squawkabilly, but any sort of other basic EX, I guess you could also knock out like Raikou and Raichu, and that's kind of great. But otherwise, you're kind of falling a bit short on the damage thresholds you really need to hit. Besides the fact that this is a kind of homage, or like running it back on this Dragonite Hurricane Charge concept, it could see a home in some decks. The Ancient Box deck with Koraidon, the one that does 30 damage for each of your Ancient Pokemon in play. Now keep in mind that this Infernape is not an Ancient Pokemon, so you're actually making this Koraidon's attack worse. But between Fire and Fighting, you can charge up both of these attacks. And then the new Koraidon EX has an attack for 1 fire and 2 fighting that does 280 damage, and you do 60 to yourself. You could power this up a lot easier with the Infernape. Cramorant has 2 attacks. The first one is Water Gun for 1 water, does 20 damage. No, this isn't it. But its second attack, Spit Shot for 3 colorless energy, lets you discard all of the energy from this Pokemon. Well, you have to discard all the energy, but it lets you do 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. This can bench snipe, so this could be great for taking out smaller Pokemon on the bench, or for sniping out a big Pokemon that's already been damaged. You can power this up pretty easily with Baxcalibur. This could even go in a Lost Box deck, theoretically, to give you a sniper. You're going to have to use Mirage Gate to power this up, but with the fact that it's colorless energy, could make it easier to slot into that style of deck as well. I don't think this is necessarily as good as Lost Zone Cramorant, but it is a playable card nevertheless. And there we go. That is a look at the latest cards from Crimson Haze that we will likely be seeing in our Twilight Masquerade set in May. But for now, I gotta get going. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me on all the things: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at In Third Person. You can find me on Twitch at In Third Person, where I stream the Pokemon trading card game. Now, I actually have to announce that the stream is going on hiatus for a bit. You've probably noticed in the videos for the last few weeks, I've been sick like for weeks now, and I thought it was just a cold. I'm pretty sure it's not a cold anymore. So right after I'm done recording this, I'm actually gonna go straight to the doctor, and we're gonna shut down the stream for a little bit. I'll be back presumably on the 17th, just before rotation. We will send off the current format in style. And check out the website inthirdperson.com for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.